Today we are at Yellowstone National Park in front of Old Faithful. Not really. We're at Disney's version of Yellowstone National Park. If you want to know where we are, stick around.
Oh, getting wet.
Welcome back. We are at Geyser Point. Is it Bar and Grill? Is that what it's called?
Let me read the menu. Yes.
It is at the Wilderness Lodge. Wilderness Lodge themed on Northwest Pacific, late 19th century national parks. We are at Wilderness Lodge and specifically Geyser Point today because a while back we put out the call, where do you want us to go? And a viewer, Chad, said, go to Wilderness Lodge. There's a couple places you can knock off Geyser Point, and the other one's what, Territory Lounge.
So we're going to save that one for a different video.
So today it's Geyser Point.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. It makes it easy when we decide where we're going to head out to if somebody just tells us where to go.
Tell us where to go.
Just tell us where
Just tell us where to go.
So Geyser Point, it's an open air bar, restaurant right here on Bay Lake. They also have a small quick service place where you can get some food. The lounge food or the bar food's a little bit different. They call it rustic fare. Geyser Point opened in 2017. Wilderness Lodge opened, I think, in 1994. Again, based on, they call it late 19th century national parks. So think Yosemite, Grand Canyon. The lodge itself was inspired by, I think, an inn, Old Faithful Inn maybe, at Yellowstone Park.
Very grand and beautiful.
It's the lobby is
like
very
breathtaking
grand.
when you walk in.
So there's both a resort and DVC here. There was the original DVC, which was like called the Villas at Wilderness Lodge, and then it was called maybe Boulder Creek DVC Villas or something. The name changed. But then recently, like the last year or two, they opened up
the cabins.
They added cabins, and they all actually took over they took over the south wing of what was just resort rooms and converted that to DVC as well. So Geyser Point is pretty centrally located between the two pools, the Copper Creek pool and the Boulder Ridge.
Copper Creek, Boulder Ridge.
So, fun fact. So the Boulder Ridge pool area is themed on like a Boulder Ridge mining company theme.
Okay.
And there's mining equipment there. So there's like some mine carts and some other equipment and rustic looking equipment. And that is repurposed. That came from Catastrophe Canyon, which was the backlot tour at Hollywood Studios.
Reuse, recycle.
Reuse, recycle.
That's fantastic.
So we've got some shots of that. So if you're new here, Or even if you're not, you know, or now you will know.
We drink and we do things.
We drink and we do things. So we're at Geyser Point, knocking the first part of that two-part quest of drinking and doing things. I went with a Concrete Beach, which is out of Miami, Concrete Beach Brewery. Went with the Havana Lager.
I don't have my can to show because they took it away. So I'm gonna have to read
C, right?
from the menu because it's a very long name. Yeah, it's the Blue Point Mad Seed, Sea Salt, and Watermelon Lager. It's very lovely.
Which
it's not like overly flavorful. It's just a little hint.
I think you've had that.
I've had it before. I think at Saratoga Springs.
Watermelon,
Yep.
sea salt. You would think that it would be like a goza or a sour, but it's not. It's a lager.
It's very mellow, flavor-wise.
And I've also had this Havana Lager before. I think I had it at the On the Rocks pool bar. And now that we have our drinks, which we're going to enjoy for a little bit.
Yes.
And what's the do part of today's?
We have to wait for it to get dark. Very, very dark.
Very, very dark?
Yes.
So drinks at Geyser Point, and we are going to see the, what is it called?
Electrical Water Pageant. It's going to go right along the lake, right behind us.
Electrical Water
So
Pageant. That's
cool.
one of the OGs of Walt Disney shows. It's been here since the beginning of the park.
I remember years and years ago seeing it from the wilderness campground right down the lake right here.
So that's what we're going to do. So we've got some time to kill here at Geyser Point. We'll show you around. We're going to have a few cold beers.
Maybe eat something.
And we are definitely going to eat something. The lobby, so as we said, it's amazing. There's a couple things to note. There's like an 82-foot fireplace and two 55-foot totem poles. I think the lobby's like 6 stories. It goes up like 6 stories all the way up.
Yeah,
and it's all timber. And it took like 85 truckloads of wood to build just the lobby, I think. And they used what they call dead standing, which I think are trees that are still standing, but they're logged because they're mostly dead, so they're not taking down live trees to build it.
That's kind of cool.
There's a fireplace and 2 totem poles. The 2 55-foot totem poles each have a name. One's called the Eagle and one's called the Raven. And that's because I think the animals at the top of each, there's a raven and an eagle. And I'm not sure what the stories are, but supposedly, working the totem pole, if you view it, there's like a story that's being told on each totem pole. And then the fireplace, which is I think 82 feet high, it goes the entire length of the lobby from floor to ceiling. What that's supposed to represent is the geology, I guess you'd call it, maybe of the Grand Canyon.
Oh, I think I remember that.
So is it a paleontologist? Would that be the person?
Paleontologist studies like fossils and things in the ground. Yes.
So they had a paleontologist analyze the Grand Canyon. And then what they did is they worked with artists and they replicated the layers of the Grand Canyon in that fireplace. And actually, if you look at the fireplace, I guess close enough, there's fossils embedded in it. So it represents the layers of the Grand Canyon. And I think there's actually a couple hidden Mickeys in there somewhere, which I'm not sure where, but I think there's some hidden Mickeys in the fireplace. But between the crazy, the height, the wood, the totem poles, the fireplace, and there's a whole host of Native American artifacts too that make it pretty amazing. So it is
all the little seating areas, comfy couches and leather chairs, and these high back chairs that are like taller than a person.
And as we said, Geyser Point it's open air. Like they don't even have some
There's
places.
no walls.
Some places have walls they can bring down in bad weather, but.
No walls.
Again, rustic.
Some heaters for when it gets cold in the wintertime.
The architecture's rustic wood, stone walkway, right on the water. I mean, Bay Lake is right behind us.
It's right. You can see it.
They have what looks to be a full bar here.
Yep. We've been here a few times before. Usually just in the afternoons.
We came here for breakfast once.
One time, I had the best crab cakes, eggs Benedict I've ever had. I still think about it to this day, obviously. But now you're telling me they don't even serve breakfast anymore.
They did away with breakfast here.
So sad. But
and so So there's a few things that Karen looks for when we go to a bar or a lounge.
Yes.
What are the things you look for? These are important things when you're at, a bar.
Comfy stools. I don't want to go to a bar that doesn't have a back on their stools. So these guys have a nice, comfy back on their stools. It's not too much to ask, right?
Bar stools that have a back.
Not too much to ask.
And then what's the second thing you look for?
A hook for my purse. There's a hook right here.
And they have
like right here. My purse is hanging.
And then
And right next to the hook is an outlet to plug in my phone. Now I get it was built in 2017, right? Is that what you said?
It opened in 2017.
So maybe USB wasn't as prevalent then, but just the fact that
you
they have an
your phone.
outlet right next to the hook, yeah, you could plug in your phone
if you want to. They get a good Yelp review
points from me. Yeah.
from Karen because backs on the stools.
Backs on the
a
stools,
hook for her
my
purse,
purse, and a plug for my phone.
That's all you need.
I have simple needs.
And a full bar if you wanted to get
Simple
mixed
needs.
drinks. And they have like a half a dozen different beers and maybe a half a dozen different mixed drinks.
Open till midnight.
And we just learned that tonight from the
midnight.
bartender. They're open till midnight.
Yes. So they have
limited
their full,
menu, he said.
Full menu till 10 p.m. and then from 10 to midnight, it's more of like a lounge type menu where they have like a charcuterie board and the edamame and different like finger food type snacks that you can get when you come back from the parks. But I feel like we've stayed at a lot of Disney resorts and
like
a lot of places are not open.
And a lot of times, like Saratoga, the pool bar, it's fairly early.
At dusk.
And we would stay and hang out and have a few drinks, but they're pulling down the shutters.
Till midnight.
So there you go.
Yeah, high on my points list right now. Yeah.
It's slowly getting darker, which we're waiting for.
Which is the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Wilderness Lodge. So when Epcot was being designed, planned, getting ready to be built, Disney realized that they were going to need more resorts because originally they were going to build 5 resorts when the park opened. There's going to be 5 resorts.
When Magic Kingdom opened.
When Magic Kingdom opened, and then the economy and travel got impacted in the early 70s because of the oil crisis, so they built 2, the Contemporary and Polynesian, and scrapped the rest of them. And so Disney didn't build any more resorts after that. And then when Epcot was getting ready to open, they knew they were going to need more resorts because another park was, so they planned to open, or they announced the Grand Floridian, a Mediterranean resort, and Cypress Point Lodge, I think it was called. And then the CEO at the time changed, new management came in, and they built the Grand Floridian, which was on the land that was going to be for the original Asian resort that never got built. And anyways, they built the Grand Floridian and they scrapped the plans for Cypress Point and the Mediterranean resort. Fast forward to the 90s. Somebody takes out the Cypress Point plan and theme for the lodge, revamps it, and that became Wilderness Lodge, and they built the Wilderness Lodge.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure if where they built the Wilderness Lodge was where they were going to build that Cypress Point Lodge, but there was also plans at some point to build a Buffalo Junction resort, which was supposed to be like an old western town with like horses and a wild Buffalo Bill show, and it was going to be like an old western main street where there's restaurants and shops and people would go up and down the main strip, and at some point that got abandoned.
It's kind of like the boardwalk.
And that's precisely what happened. They brought that idea back. Somebody repurposed that idea, and they built the boardwalk where there's restaurants. And
well, I'm glad
so
they
the
did that.
boardwalk could have been like the Wild West. There could have been like gunfights on the boardwalk. Not as cool.
I feel like the boardwalk stands the test of time in the Wild West.
So if you
maybe
had
not
your
so much.
choice,
Restaurants,
bars, stores.
The Buffalo thing would probably be fun to go to once, but Boardwalk is awesome, and we go back time and time and time again.
So, but I guess we don't have a choice.
I mean, that's just us.
Because they built the boardwalk and they didn't build Buffalo Junction, so I guess we have no choice.
The choice was made for us.
The choice was made for us. So Disney Magic brought you an Atlantic City boardwalk or a Coney Island boardwalk instead of Wild Bill's Buffalo Western town.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
As long as the saloon had backs on their stools,
right, and
hooks,
hooks,
and a place to plug in your cell phone, then we probably would have been okay with it.
Yes. you doing?
Topping off my beer. I'm doing the drink before we do things. Late cheers.
Late cheers.
So Electrical Water Pageant.
Electrical Water Pageant.
Electrical Water Pageant. Another one of those things that I had completely forgot about. I probably can't remember the last time I've seen it.
Same.
It is one of the OGs of Disney shows. It's been around since literally it's been here since the beginning, 1971.
Yeah.
So when they were opening the park, or right after they opened, when they were opening the park, either one of the executives or Imagineers, one of their concerns was, unlike Disneyland, Disney World was so, much more vast, spread out, or actually away from things. I think it was much darker here than Disneyland, which you could see the lights from around. And they had the lake here at the in front of the Magic Kingdom, and along the resorts, and it was going to be so dark, and they were like, it was kind of like a downside. They're going to have this big lake that you look over and it's really dark, and one of the
empty canvas,
and one of them said, well, if it's so dark, why don't he tasked some people with coming up with an electric light parade float thing, and they created, I think, 14 floats, and they created what became the parade. But the black canvas gave them the perfect thing. And I think there's 14 floats, sea creature based.
Yeah.
The original soundtrack, so it ran from 71 to 77, I think, with the same soundtrack. It was called Baroque Hoedown. And Disney, which is a song, and Disney bought the rights to it, and then had a musician remake it with that synthesized sound.
Yeah.
And that ran, I think, until 77, and then they changed it where they started adding some Disney-themed music to it, and that ran until, I don't know, maybe the 90s, and then they changed the music. And some of the floats are still like the originals, and some have come, some have gone. Like there was originally, I think, a clamshell that used to open and close and had like a mermaid in it, which is gone. And there's like goldfish that were in bubbles that I think is gone. And then they've added some, like the turtle, I think they added. So some of the floats.
It's like a sea creature that, right?
Well, maybe the sea creature. That might be one of the originals. I think they added a dinosaur at some point too.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. We haven't seen it in so long.
We haven't seen it in so long.
So long. I'm kind of excited.
But it hasn't changed that much. And it's one of the few things that is like I said, one of the originals. And so when Disney World opened, obviously executives from Disneyland were here, and they saw it and said, this is awesome. They don't have a lake. The Main Street Electrical Light Parade was born. So they were like, we need this. And so that's how they created the Main Street Electrical Light Parade.
Which is
because
so amazing.
Well, it's gone. They don't do it anymore, right?
Anywhere? They don't do it here.
Well, they don't do it. They don't do it at Walt
Disneyland.
Disney World. Oh, I don't know if they do it at Disneyland. That's a good
amazing.
question. But that was because the Disneyland executives saw the water parade here and said, oh, the lights are great, and they don't have a dark lake, I guess, to do it on.
Nothing like that electrical light parade down Main Street.
And that's why.
The music.
And that's why it's the same music. Originally it was the same music for the electrical light parade on Main Street as it was for the pageant.
Interesting.
And that's.
I had no idea.
So the pageant on the water.
Yes.
Where can you see it from? It does like the loop on the lake. So
you can see it from the Grand Floridian, from the Polynesian, from the Contemporary, from Bay Lake, from...
So it makes the loop.
Wilderness Lodge, from Fort Wilderness, from the ferry boat, if you happen to be going across at the right time.
So you just need to know...
It's a big, giant lake.
You need to know what time it shows up at the resort.
Yeah, there's like a schedule on the Disney website that says like roughly what time you can see it from.
So here at the
areas.
Wilderness Lodge, what time is it? 9:30. It should show up here. All right.
Yeah.
So we will just...
I'm sure it's like a rough estimate.
And it only takes 5 people to run that show.
Really?
To operate it.
Really?
There's 2 barges that tow all the floats.
Okay.
Each barge has a pilot and a co-pilot, and then there's one cast member that drives a security boat or a safety boat. So 5 people.
Kind of old-timey.
It's old time. Well, It's 1971 technology. It's probably like these old screw-in light bulbs from knobs and dials and absolutely.
It's kind of cool.
Right.
I like it. Nostalgia.
I'm excited. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Really long.
Or maybe like it's going to ruin it because we remember how fantastic it was as
We're gonna be like
as kids, and now it's going to be like hokey. Yeah.
No.
The sad trombone.
No, it'll be good. It's going to be good. I have a good feeling.
You think we can see it right here from the bar, or do we have to go down to the water?
The water is right there.
But that
the
might.
water is right.
But you don't know if it comes
there.
this far.
It goes as far as the campground is beyond us.
Oh, so it goes by us to get to
good.
the camp. Oh, we're good.
We're
Oh,
good.
you mean we're going to watch this from the bar?
From the bar.
We're watching this from the bar. Oh, today is not. Oh, we're not going to drink and then do things. We are literally going to.
Simultaneous.
No, we're going to drink and do things
At the
at the same time. The pageant's going right behind us, so you can just look over our shoulder and the electrical
pageant.
water pageant. Why do they call it a water pageant?
Because it's on the water.
It's on the water. But a pageant, I don't know what makes it a pageant versus a parade. Our parade's
Maybe-
not. There's no parades on water. It's pageants on water.
No, pageant sounds more
Regal.
regal. I don't know. I have no idea. Is that not in your like fun facts somewhere?
It's not in my fun facts.
Maybe you should find out.
So we're enjoying a few drinks while we wait to do things. This would be a good time for you to reach down and hit that subscribe button. As Karen always says, it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
Just do it.
Just
it's
do
free.
it.
How many things in life are free? Not many.
The best things in life are free.
Subscribe.
I don't know, that's a saying.
It's free. Subscribe. It's free.